Greetings, comrades, I'm Quint866, and welcome to my review of Pacman World 2. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, anyways, I'd like to give credit to the YouTuber. I'll leave a link in the description of his channel, who let me use clips for this video. I think he was a great guy. He was really nice to let me use these clips. Enveropolis, thank you. I really appreciate it. So, let's not waste any time and get right into the video. But, I wanted to say that, however, before I start, I know I was trying to fake you out. Enveropolis, I give you a shout out because you are really nice, and I think your videos are great. You are a lot more skilled at me compared to when I first played Pacman World 2. I don't know if that was your first time playing it, but I still have trouble during Clyde, even though he's red, Fire Mech, and I'm just telling you, I think you're great. So, let's get right into it. Pacman World 2, everybody. This game is basically, in the short story terms, Banjo-Kazooie with Pac-Man graphics and characters and music. However, this is a very good twist on the Pac-Man series. Instead of just running around collecting Pac dots and avoiding ghosts, there's so much more. Like, sure, you still have to collect dots and stop the ghosts, but there's much more. Like, there's power-ups, there's invulnerability power-ups for short periods of time. Heck, there's even a couple new moves Pac-Man learns, like the Rev Roll, which allows him to spin, kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog's speedy spin dash across certain areas. There's the chain dot, which if you eat a red dot, it'll make you go across a chain of dots, which is like the light dash in Sonic. And there's even the butt bounce, which is basically the ground pound in Mario. But my point is, Pacman World 2 is great, people. For those of you who only say the original and Miss Pacman were the only two good games, here's a message for you. Wake up. You've got to learn to try new things, people, because this game is great. It's fun, it's nice, well, to an extent when it comes to nice, but all the other stuff is good. The game might not be as nice as it seems, but it's still a great game. So, let's start off then, shall we, with some of my favorite moments. The first boss against Blinky, even though he's orange, which should make him Clyde. Sorry about that, Namco, I get it, you made a mistake, but come on, that's a little obvious. Anyways, Clyde's frog is a rather easy fight, but it's a great introduction to the game for a bigger fight. It's a great introductory fight, I gotta be honest. Like, sure, you know, it's really easy, and it's kind of a pushover, but it still was a fun fight. And the music is pretty fitting, too, with the frog. You know, with the whole instrumental stuff that fits it. But what I really like about this fight is that it's just fun. Like, I know people say that the first boss fights aren't supposed to be necessarily good anyways, but come on, people, that's why they're the first boss. They're not supposed to be hard. They're supposed to be relatively easy, but with a sense of originality. And this boss fight shows that pretty dang well. For starters, Blinky's frog has a tongue with, yes, a spiked mace ball on the end of it, and you have to butt bounce it when the tongue is made of wood, or at least a part of it. However, when it's steel, you have to rev roll into its mouth and crash into its uvula. The second boss fight against Inky is actually my favorite boss in the entire game. Yes, no joke, Inky is my favorite boss in the entire game, mainly because he has his battle theme is great. He's pretty easy too, but he has challenging moments, and the fact that he rides a saw makes him pretty cool. Like, for example, people, saws in a forest world don't mix, which makes it a good challenge, but also this fight's pretty easy, so it's got a good balance to it. However, I must say this, though, is that this fight isn't just about going to the tongue, like on the frog, because as you can see, the mech is different. However, I like the way this mech looks. It looks cool, and to be honest, it's pretty fun, and I just really like this fight because it's creative, it's a good second boss fight, and it's great music, fits very well, and you don't just have to rev roll into his body. You can also use the butt bounce on the cockpit to try and, you know, hurt him. But I like it because it gives you options if you are stuck on trying to hit him one way, because for a long time I thought you could only butt bounce on the cockpit, when really you could have just revved rolled into the body. Well, there is one boss that is like that on this list, which I'll get to later, but Inky takes the spot for my favorite boss in Pacman World 2. Yeah, that's all. Golden Strawberry! Pinky's boss fight had some time on me that really kicked off my speedrun counter, but that was because, well, for starters, this boss fight has some more different elements compared to Inky. For example, instead of shooting saws just one by one, she can shoot them in single shot and double shot, like spread shot wise. What I like about this fight though is that it takes in a snow world, and of course I love the snow like in video games, except when there's slippery ice platforming in midair. Gosh, propeller knife from shovel. But anyways, ice platforming as well as pits don't mix. But this fight is pretty fun. It's got a good challenge. Simple procedure, just rev roll into the body, collect health, dodge the snowballs. It's pretty simple. But what got me was that I thought I could butt bounce on the cockpit for a long time, when really those platforms were just for recovery's sake. Anyways, that's it for Pinky. Pretty much nothing much that different, but that's all there is to say. Golden Apple! Yay! Okay, now, this boss. Wait, that's not Clyde, that's Blinky, he's red. Oh my god. Okay, well, anyways, people, this boss, this the boss is unfair. A lot of people call this boss hard, like Fawful's minion, when I don't think it is. Personally, it's not that it's hard, it's just that it's unfair and pretty annoying. Also making it, what basically makes this boss fight hard is that you can't revel into the body. This is the boss where you have to bounce on the cockpit, and it's also one of the hardest bosses in any game I've ever seen when it comes to artificial difficulty. It's not hard for like challenge difficulty. It's hard because of artificial difficulty by unfair odds, which makes it kind of not really a good fight. It's still fun, you got a good challenge, but it's just so hard. Like, it's dangerous to even revel across the arena. His fireballs are so freaking accurate. And don't get me started on the fact that this guy will try to push you off into the lava, instantly killing you, making you have to restart the phase of the fight you are currently on. And Blinky, for starters, is unfair also because, well, for starters, look at Pacman's health bar. He can take 4 hits before dying. How many does Blinky take? Way more from what I can see, which is unfair. Plus, he'll shower you constantly with those steamy projectiles. Whatever. We'll call them white hot spheres, I guess. The white hot spheres do some pretty good damage, as well as they're pretty accurate. And Blinky can shoot them in single shot, double shot, and even triple spread shot. Which, believe me, seems see, like, look, how are you not supposed to get hit by that when there's no pattern to the white hot spheres? How are you supposed to do that? And the little flames he leaves behind can be seen with the little trails of smoke that go up in the air, but they're just so hard to see that it's annoying. Plus, those little flames, the smokes that come out that are left over after the white hot spheres are shot, do damage, which is pretty unfair. Because I get it, it's supposed to be realistic, but come on, this is a video game. Video games aren't really, most of them aren't really supposed to be realistic. I mean, come on, this is a game where a giant robot that is fueled by fire tries to kill a little yellow dot muncher. I mean, come on, people. But anyways, Blinky is still a pretty hard boss fight, and that is that. I'm going to be skipping past the Mega Whale boss fight because the Mega Whale is just, well, it's kind of a forgettable fight, but it's still fun. Just, there's not a lot to say about it. But anyways, Spooky, the final boss, and the whole King of the Ghosts, oh, I'm sorry, Necromancer of the Ghosts, is a great fight. He's pretty hard at times, and he's got some pretty devious moves. Like, for example, he can summon enemies, shoot those poisonous projectiles. Heck, he even swarms your entire homeland with a giant storm that's bound to bring you to oblivion. Plus Spooky, even though I haven't gotten to him yet, like on my speed run, I'm still trying to get past this fight with the fight with Blinky, because god, it's so hard. But anyways, Spooky is pretty good. It's typical stuff. You follow through the pattern, you keep dodging his attacks, and most importantly, this is the final boss. He's pretty hard, but maybe he's not as hard as Blinky, but he's just god. I just feel like he's so freaking annoying at times. Like, the thorn plants don't help. The enemies he spawn don't help. The fireballs he spawns don't help, and the storm with the eerie atmosphere does not help. That's a big complaint people make, is that nothing is supposed to help you in this fight. Like, you know, there are those health things. I'll tell you guys, this is the final battle. Nothing's supposed to help you. This is where you're supposed to have the epic final clash and bring out your full skill. So that is why this fight may be hard to some people, but not necessarily to me. Anyways, Spooky's a great final boss for this game, and there's not much else to say, to be honest. Yeah. Okay, that's all. All in all, Pac-Man World 2 is simply a great spin-off, or at least a great twist on the Pac-Man series we all know and love. But for the complaint that people give this game, like camera control and annoying enemies and whatnot, I really don't care about that. Like, sure, the camera control can be absolutely unforgivable at times, but I forgive it because there's just so much other good things we have to focus on. Anyways, Enveropolis, thank you again, and I'm Quint866. See you later.